Homeworld, the deserts of Carak. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words, guys. The words of the developer. A ground-based RTS prequel to the classic Homeworld games. Assemble your fleet and lead them to victory on the shifting sands of Carak in this compelling strategy game for the PC from Blackbird Interactive. So what is Homeworld? Well, it's the prequel to Homeworld. Homeworld was a 3D space game. This is a land-based desert RTS game. I don't know. Forget, just nod your head and go, ah. But anyway, let's start with the bare bones of this game, the options that you get. You don't get a great deal of options with this, and one of the things that I want to show you is the fact that you can't rebind your keys. On a game that is a AAA £30 game, you can't rebind your keys. Now, in an RTS you need to do that. I need to do that because you use the arrow keys to move, and I don't like using the arrow keys to move because that means my left hand has to be over to the right hand side of the keyboard, which means it comes across me, and I don't like that. I like it over to the left, and I like to rebind certain keys to build certain units as well, and I can't do any of that. That needs fixing. It's ridiculous that the game was released without that. Next thing, let's talk about how much I've played it so far. I pretty much halfway through the campaign, no, just over halfway through the campaign actually, and I've also touched the skirmish. I haven't played multiplayer because nobody actually has the game yet, so there is nobody to play multiplayer with. That's all going to change by the time you're actually watching this review because the game will now be on sale. So how does the campaign play? Well, I'm not going to give you any spoilers, and I'm not going to show you any clips that's going to spoil it, but it's about a 13-14 hour campaign, so I've heard, and it is really good fun. I'm having a blast in it. It's got a really nice story, it's got great voice acting, great characters, and it has, without a shadow of a doubt, the best ambience ever in a game that I've ever. You need to hear this ambience. The radio chatter that you have in this game is just, it blows you away. It blows you away, guys. I mean, you know what it's like playing an RTS game. The annoying noises every time you click on a vehicle. Roger, Roger, Roger. It just f*** off, you know. It's like StarCraft really annoys me when you're having to click on unit after unit after unit and you get the same response. It grinds on you after a while. But in this, it's like you're in a real battle. At first, when I started to play it, I didn't like the UI. I didn't like the whole. It was kind of daunting, and you know, I was getting drowned in the whole, all the little lines and squares and shit. But after an hour, I was very much at home in this, and when you get into a battle and you hear people chatting amongst each other and talking random shit, it's just amazing. You actually do feel like you're in this kind of huge battle and you are the commander-in-chief ordering everybody around. It's without a shadow of doubt the best RTS that I've ever played for that reason of atmosphere, for the reason of immersion. It's just nothing has really grasped me like this has. It's a phenomenal game in that sense.
Hostile light attack vehicle visually authenticated. Alert. Support craft has been engaged. Off ready.
Alert.
Get us underway.
Hostile contact.
Order confirmed. Many thanks, TechCom. Reposition. Reposition. We got a railgun under fire. Okay, time to roll. Ready for orders. All out. Hostile strike craft down. Ready, set.
Bomber to launch deck.
Copy that. Bomber on deck.
And let's talk good. Let's talk some more good. I'm in a good mood with it because that's reminded me how much fun this is. Let's talk about line of sight with the vehicles. The combat works like this. The higher ground you are on, the more of a boost you get. So you want to exploit the high ground when you're placing turrets or when you're putting sniping units like the railguns, which are great. The tanks with like a railgun on, and they'll love shooting people from a hilltop. They're brilliant. I have them around my base. They're brilliant. They look good, they sound good, and they're deadly. And one of the great things about this game is you want to keep your units alive, because the longer you keep them alive and the more combat they see, and you can repair them quite easily, they level up, they rank up and get more deadly. So it's one of them games where you're looking after your units. You really take care of them. You want to stroke them and cover them in honey and then lick it. they will save your life. If you look after them, they'll look after you. That's the way I look at it when I'm playing the game. All through the campaign as well, you keep your units from one mission to the next, which is brilliant. And you want to look after them. And you've got a few units that can repair and look after your units. So the combat, going back to the combat, you have the high ground. It's all based in the desert, so you've got these dunes and you place units on top of the dunes and you get that attack bonus that I said. They've also got smoke grenades, certain units, where you can fire this grenade of smoke quite a long way away, and it interferes with line of sight, because line of sight works brilliantly in this game. If there's a little hill, a little arch of sand between yourself and the enemy, you can't hit each other unless you're lobbing artillery. So it's really, really good the way they've done the combat. The combat is so tactical. I love it. It's one of the best combats that I've had in an RTS game. Where it kind of falls is the AI is a bit shit. It's not the best, basically. Even in the campaign, it's not the best. It just, they have a lot more units than you, and so you kind of don't notice so much. But I know how bad the AI is because I've played skirmish mode, and I'll come to that a bit later on. So bear in mind with the campaign, which is what we're talking about at the minute, the AI is a bit rotten. Now let's talk about the carriers. The carrier is like your mothership. Remember the mothership in Homeworld? Well, you've got this big carrier. It's an aircraft carrier on wheels or tracks, and it's just awesome, guys. It's just brilliant. It makes all your units come from this, but it also has a power management system where you can direct power into certain systems and different ranks of power into certain systems, so it becomes more powerful. You can have it repairing, you can have it boosting its armor, you can have it being just a weapons platform, all kinds of stuff. It also launches fighters, and the fighters and planes, should I say, are just awesome, especially the gunship. You know the big C-130 gunships with Gatling guns on the side? Well, you have them. They don't look like anything like that, but they're called gunships, and they circle strafe enemies on the battlefield. They are just incredibly good, guys. So overall, the combat, the campaign is highly enjoyable. It does have some bugs in it. One of the missions I had to redo the entire mission because it just bugged out. I was actually, I think I broke it. I was supposed to retreat and I attacked and I totally overwhelmed the enemy using the line of sight, the high ground, the rail guns, and I eventually came in and started annihilating his carrier, only to find out that it wouldn't let me kill it because it's needed in the next mission. So it's like, you can't kill this. Sorry. So I had to end the mission and restart it, which was a pain in the ass. You can load it from a previously saved game. You can save the game. Any console users watching, you can save the game anytime you want, because you know what? It's a PC. It's a PC. You should be able to do that, and I'm pleased to announce you can do that. F10 is the options key. It took me ages to find it. I had to roll my face over the keyboard to find it because escape just isn't it for some reason. I think they just trolled us with that. So there's the campaign, guys. It's very enjoyable. It has great combat. It has a few clipping issues where vehicles pass through each other or also pass through terrain. One last thing that I want to mention on the campaign, you have to get artifacts, but I won't tell you any more about the story. But the reason I'm mentioning artifacts is because you get them by smashing open the hulks of crashed spaceships on the actual planet, and each artifact powers up your carrier. It gives you more abilities, and you have a tech tree that you go down and you can research that specific tech and you get new units and things like that. And that brings me into the actual skirmish mode and multiplayer. Now, as I said, I haven't played them yet because there's nobody actually playing online, but I have played the skirmish mode, and the AI is awful. It's just not very good, guys. I'm not the best RTS player, and on my first forage into skirmish, I annihilated the AI on normal difficulty. I've then tried it 2v2 because you can customize the games any way you want. Many a time I was hammering the computer from a high ground position with me rail tanks, and he just sat there taking it, and I was just taking down his units, and it was kind of because I love me skirmish maps. I absolutely love playing the AI, and there's only 5 maps. There should be at least double that, to be honest with you, and that's annoying. Multiplayer is going to be a totally different thing. I do think there'll be quite an active multiplayer crowd playing this because Homeworld was quite a popular game back in its day, and there'll be a lot of people wanting to buy this just to see the story, and they'll end up playing multiplayer. So, you know, there's probably going to be a bit of a community going on with multiplayer, and I think multiplayer with this is going to be absolutely awesome because the way the battles play in this, it's not like your normal RTS. You don't win by just throwing numbers at you, you know, you don't just make a big group of units, go over there and kick ass lol. It's not that type of game. You're using smoke, you're using high ground, and it's a bit more tactical than most other RTS games. So I think multiplayer is going to be a blast in this, I really do. If you ramp up the difficulty and you start playing the skirmishes on hard level, then it just blatantly cheats its ass off. I mean, one of the things that really pissed me off was I got actually taken out. I mean, I've only played once on hard and I got took out very early game simply because he overwhelmed me and I wasn't expecting it. I didn't realise that he was able to cheat, and so I kind of had an idea of by what I'm building is what he's got, and I thought, right, well, he can't have that many units, I'm not under any threat, and then all of a sudden 10 fucking tanks charge through me base and rape us, and it's like, that's impossible. And I don't like it when RTS games do that, and it's not the only RTS game that does that. There's a few others cheat, and it's just because they cannot win any other way because the AI is so shit. So that's a problem with it. So it's $29.99. It has a 14-hour campaign, it has 5 multiplayer skirmish maps, and that's it. Now that's not a lot for a £30 game. Now, yes, it might be a nice polished story with cutscenes that look gorgeous, but so are a lot of other games. And, you know, this is the big question. I mean, I want to thumb it up. I'm enjoying the game. I'm loving the combat. I love the radio chatter, the atmosphere of the game. It's just sublime in that sense. But then you've got the clippings, the bad AI, the pretty much dull skirmish mode. And it's kind of like, what do I do? What do I do? Well, I think only you can decide whether or not you want to buy this. I mean, I've pointed out the pluses and the minuses here. That gives you an idea of whether or not you want to buy it or not. For me, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. It's going to scrape through by the skin of its teeth with a thumb up. And the only reason it's getting that is because I have had so much fun in the actual combat, the line of sight, the high ground, the radio chatter, the types of units even. It's not your typical RTS unit type. You've got railguns, you've got these siege vehicles that fire all sorts, you've got cruise missiles, you've got some gunships. I like the units. I like this game. I mean, one thing I will mention, you can zoom right into the bloody tyre tracks basically on the camera and see some amazing shots of it, which are only eye candy. You can't play the game from there. I don't even know why that's in there. It's kind of like we could and we have. Well, in my book, it's just because you can doesn't mean you should, because there's a lot of the times it's nearly cost me a crucial part of a battle because I've wheeled my mouse and I've zoomed so far in I can see the fucking insects in the sand, you know, and I've kind of lost my camera and I've had to zoom back out, and all that's taken time. I'd much rather see them have a break on how far you can zoom in, but you know, that's all coming from the original Homeworld anyway. So there you go, guys. That's Homeworld, The Deserts of Carak. It's got a good story, it's got great combat, it's got amazing sounds, it's got hardly any maps and only a 14 hour campaign. You decide whether or not you think that's worth £30. For me, it just scrapes through because I'm having so much bloody fun with it.